Hi all, this is me. Miss Hager suggested I kind of tape myself so it might be easier for me to convey information. So that way maybe we'll get more of it in less time. So here's what I learned at my ICADs last week. First, please focus a lot on your day one phonics skills. One of the big focuses they're having in K1 and 2, especially K1, is making sure kids are getting that phonics based word attack skills. Kind of that day one is really big on that, where you're introducing the phonics skill and then you're using it in the story, making sure you relate the phonics skill to the story. So make sure you're definitely doing that. Next, some updates on MyOn. MyOn right now is right. Well, I've never really been trained on MyOn before, so I don't know what most of you know or how deep your training goes. But for me, I found out a lot of really cool stuff that I didn't really know before. I've got figured out where you can get some parent letters so you can send out information about MyOn. Basically, they kind of showed me even how to kind of do a playlist of books to make those lovely book projects that I know Miss Bell started some last year. So you can make some of your own for your units. Actually, there are even some pre-made for you. So you can even suggest that that's what your kids do when they go to MyOn, read books based on your unit, and they can pick and choose which ones they like because they have lots of them. The other thing about MyOn that I found out, there are definitely quiz reports. So if you want to see how your students are doing, if they're doing MyOn quizzes, then they have a file for you to go ahead and look for them up, see how they're doing on passing the quizzes, and for your own general knowledge or to add to your data for certain students, that might be a good idea. So that's kind of what I got from MyOn. All right, from MyOn, I had already texted you guys and let you know to make sure that you list your groups as WWW, because when the people from iReady come and pull up reports to check how our school is doing on time and such for their checkups, that's what they're going to be looking for. Those WW reports for those WonderWorks intervention. They really went into intervention, what it's supposed to look like. They went into also all the materials that McGraw-Hill actually has for DI, which I kind of added a tab to our OneNote, and I'll probably keep adding as I keep figuring out where it all is so that we have it all in one place. But there's manuals called Tier 2, which are those yellow page lessons that are actually in our teacher guides each week. So when they consider what you're doing for DI, literally what they're asking you to do is to teach and reteach skills that we're actually doing from that week. That's kind of what they said. For your lowest students, I don't know exactly how that will go, but so far that's kind of what they touched on at the meeting, that they want you using a lot of these materials that we already have, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you have something else, that's great. Nobody is saying not to use it. They just gave more options. Some of them seem very good, and the thing is, it's just basically a lot more reading on our end because it's a lot of more stuff. Literally, the books are like 200 to 300 pages each, and there are 5 of them, one for each of the important competencies in reading. There's one on fluency, one on vocabulary, one on comprehension, one on phonemic awareness, and one on phonics and word study. Again, a lot of information. The group I follow on Facebook, the Wonders group, the woman who runs it and does all the lesson planning, she literally sits there and she's outlined for every week which lessons from the Tier 2 books actually go with each week. So if you want to use the tier lessons, I would suggest that if you have not I have not added you to this group, you let me know and I will add you so that you can look up exactly which lessons so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. If you don't know how to access it, please let me know. I'll show you, I'll teach you, whatever works for everybody. I'm trying to keep this short, so I'm going to continue. All right, the lady from iReady, because this is a training on many things, which is why my brain was overloaded. The lady from iReady was very quick to point out to make sure that the kids are not going overtime. She says that iReady is no longer really stressing time competencies per school. What they're really stressing now is that kids are making more than 75% on quizzes, that they're passing quizzes at a rate of 75 and up or 80 and up. So that's really what they're looking for now. Yes, they still want certain kids to hit a certain time. They would say if your red group should be hitting about 75 minutes in reading and math. Your yellow group should be hitting about, I'm going to say 45. And then your green group really doesn't have to be more than 30. So that's kind of where they are on that right now. Really, but they're basically the time frame they're going for is 45 minutes. That's what they want. The lowest ones, if you can get them to go more, great. But remember now, what they're looking for in iReady, even though they haven't told us that, is not time so much as making sure the kids are passing the quizzes and you're keeping track of that. Do periodic checks. Make sure your kids are passing the way they are. Check your domains. Make sure they're all on. Any kid that's been failing a lot of lessons, they may have closed domains. If you don't know how to close that, they do have a help center and iReady, or you can come and ask me or somebody else that might know how to turn the domains on. Let's see. At this point, supposedly iReady now has a function where the kids themselves can check their time. I haven't seen it. I'm going to be snooping in my kids and seeing if they can see it at some point this week. Snoop too. Figure it out where they put it. I think it's probably where they can see their scores on the lessons. So I'm going to be looking into that because I think that might be good to let the kids know. Because one of the big things I also talked about in iReady is making sure the kids understand why iReady is important, that it's a way for us to see how they're doing. Make sure you point that out to them before assessments, while they're practicing on the computer. Make sure you point it out, because if not, then what's the point of all the assessment windows? They're not going to take it seriously, and blah, 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 all the stuff we know. One of the things that they also pointed out is it would be awesome if you do it using actual testing environments. They pointed out the idea of a proctor. But for us to have proctors, we literally would have to have somebody come in and help us, which is not always the case for us. But some people gave some ideas, maybe have parents come in when we do iReady testing and they can serve as proctors, or maybe get older kids from some of the other classes, maybe in 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. I don't know if they still have office aides. Maybe those could be an option for this type of idea. We could bring it up if you guys are interested. We can talk about that at a later time. The other big thing they talked about was intervention. Intervention is state mandated. We have to make sure that it's being done the right way. Basically, follow the WonderWorks lesson plans. Make sure you're using the teacher guides. If you don't have all the materials, find a way to print out the teacher charts or just show them on the board. Make sure that you're doing it the right way and with fidelity, because supposedly you can get in really big trouble if you're not actually doing it. You have to have evidence that you've been doing it. Make sure you keep up your attendance, which I should listen to myself about. Make sure you're keeping track of who's doing what, and that you have some folders put aside, which we kind of already taken care of the materials the kids have been doing. So you have proof that they've been doing DI. So the big thing also with intervention, please follow with fidelity was the big thing. Make sure that you're only giving intervention to the students that are listed under that tab for foundational skills or functional skills, whatever that tab is. Make sure those are the kids that you for sure are saving paperwork for. Do you have to do your whole class? No. It only goes towards those students who are listed under that tab. If you have other students that you suspect also need the WonderWorks, pull them. Let Ms. Bell know, have her add them to the group. Make sure you check if she does add them to the functional skills, that you check your gradebook tabs later on, because they may be pulled out and that can be a little crazy with grades. So again, make sure that the kids you're pulling are the ones on the tab. If they're not those kids, or if you're missing some of those kids, that can be a problem. So please make sure you're hitting those kids. Those are important. What can your other students be doing while you're doing the WonderWorks intervention? Of course, you can have them be doing centers. They can be doing seat work on their own. They can be on the computer. However you figure out is easiest for you with your class, basically, is what they say. If you're not quite sure of how to use the WonderWorks intervention, there is a webinar listed online under those lovely tabs in the pacing guides, next to the pacing guides, that shows you how to go through the WonderWorks and how it should be done. Most of the materials that are needed are online. You can print some things out. You can I know there's a kit rolling around somewhere that maybe you can make photocopies of. So again, I like keeping the teacher guide on my desktop, and I kind of project it and I use it when I do it with my class, but I don't know if that works for everybody. I don't know how big your group is. So my group's about 7. So I make sure my 7 little children, my 7 or 8 children are always kind of around the board. And it's a lot easier than trying to stick them all on my kidney table. Plus, since it helps me not have to print out all the teacher pages. The packet is really most of what you need. It's all they're requesting as some sort of information. You can add in your own activities. They did say that's perfectly fine. Anything from FCRR, anything you find that you think will actually help anything that they're not getting. Make sure that students that are not getting the WonderWorks intervention, like literally that are sitting there staring at you, like, huh? What? Make sure they are actually referred, because more likely than not, if they can't get what you're trying to teach them with WonderWorks, they're not getting anything full class. So they're also pointing that out, that if you have those 1 or 2 students that are not understanding what you're doing during that phase, make sure that those are the ones you're thinking about doing a referral for, request for assistance, and all that lovely paperwork we love so much. I think those were the highlights. I tried to condense a whole day into 12 minutes. Probably did not do the best job. Do check the OneNote for that small group DI tab that I mentioned. I'm going to keep adding stuff to it. That's where I'm going to put some of those DI books for you guys to look at. Again, do you have to use them? No, and to be honest, the lessons are in our TI, our Teacher's Edition, as we go. But I like the way the lady I found online gives me a little breakdown of every week, every unit and week, what I need to look at specifically. She's basically done all the work for me. So I like taking her work. Not as my own, but I use it because she spent a lot of time on it. Somebody should use it. She's giving it away for free. All right, so I'm going to say goodbye. See y'all soon. Hope you enjoyed this, because I don't know how it's going to come off. All right, bye.